You ever meet someone who doesn't just live life but plays it like a chess game? Every move thought out, every piece strategically placed, every sacrifice calculated? That's Meghan Markle. People call her many things: actress, activist, duchess, rebel. But if the whispers are true, strategist might be her most fitting title. Because this story, it's not about tiaras or Netflix deals. It's about bloodlines, legacies, and the cold, ruthless ambition that allegedly drove Meghan to set her eyes not just on Harry, but on the future King of England, Prince William. Let that sink in. Everyone thought Meghan fell head over heels for Harry, the ginger-haired rebel who ditched tradition, broke ranks, and seemed like the perfect outsider prince for her outsider duchess fairy tale. But according to the whispers behind palace gates, Harry wasn't the prize. He was the decoy. The real target? His brother William. And not in a romantic, candlelit dinners kind of way. No, Meghan allegedly dreamed of having William's child. Not just any child, a son, a future king. Think about how cold that is. This isn't a Hollywood romantic comedy. This is House of Cards, but with crowns and carriages. Now, imagine being Harry. You give up everything: your military career, your royal titles, your bond with your brother, your relationship with your family. You take on the media, the palace machine, the judgment of an entire nation, all for love, and then you find out you were never the first choice, never the plan, never the prize. You weren't the hero of her story. You were the stepping stone, the placeholder, the spare. That hits deeper than betrayal. That's humiliation. And when you look at Harry now, those vacant eyes in photos, the stiff body language, the haunted expressions, it's not hard to believe he's living with that silent realization: I was never enough. Here's where it gets medieval. Meghan didn't just allegedly dream about William, she dreamed about birthing a son with him. Because Harry's kids, as adorable as they are, they'll never sit on the throne. Everyone knows that. But William's? That's destiny. That's the crown. So Meghan's fantasy wasn't about romance. It was about rewriting history, about inserting herself directly into the royal bloodline in the boldest way imaginable. And this wasn't some teenage daydream from years ago. These confessions reportedly came after the wedding, after the happily ever after the Oprah interviews and the Netflix documentaries where Meghan painted herself as the misunderstood duchess. Behind the polished photo shoots and the carefully curated brand, Meghan was allegedly imagining herself in Kate's shoes, married to William, raising his heir, wearing her crown. Now let's pause on Kate for a second. Kate Middleton, the woman who actually married William. The woman who spent 2 decades in the public eye without scandal, without drama, without ever losing her composure. While Meghan was crafting interviews, curating sympathy, and selling her truth, Kate was raising the next generation of royals with grace and dignity. She's been called boring, too perfect, even robotic. But maybe that's the point. Kate's silence, her steadiness, is what keeps the monarchy from cracking in half. So imagine Kate hearing that Meghan, the woman who publicly accused her of making her cry, who painted her as cold on international television, was secretly fantasizing about being her husband, children, crown, and all. That's not rivalry, that's obsession, and the hypocrisy is staggering. Meghan told the world she was the victim of the palace machine, the underdog duchess crushed by protocol and press. She sold us the story of peace, privacy, and freedom. But if these whispers are true, it wasn't peace she wanted, it was power. Not family, legacy, not Harry, William. This flips the entire narrative upside down. Meghan wasn't the misunderstood outsider, she was the architect of a master plan. And the scariest part? She nearly pulled it off, because one calculated pregnancy, one son with William, and the royal line of succession would have been rewritten forever. Think about what that means for the monarchy. The institution survives on rules, tradition, and bloodlines. The idea that someone could swoop in, marry one brother, and then dream of a child with the other, that's not just scandal, that's existential. That's the kind of threat Buckingham Palace cannot and will not ignore. For William, the man she allegedly targeted, this crosses into dangerous territory. He spent his life carrying the weight of the crown, duty first, family second. For Meghan to even imagine inserting herself into his bloodline was like striking at the heart of everything the monarchy protects. This isn't gossip about tiaras or tears at fittings. This is about legacy, about someone trying to hack the royal DNA itself. And suddenly, every interview, every Spotify podcast, every glossy Netflix shot looks different. Was it all heartfelt, or was it all strategy? Those teary moments about loneliness, those speeches about finding freedom, did they mask a deeper ambition? Were they sympathy cards played to perfection? Because once you hear someone allegedly fantasized about swapping their husband for his brother, the heir to the throne, every word about love, conquering all starts to sound like smoke and mirrors. You know what really twists the knife here? The timing. Meghan's alleged confession about William didn't happen in some wild pre-royal past. No, it reportedly came after everything. After the fairy tale Windsor wedding, after Harry gave up his identity, after the Oprah interview where she claimed she just wanted peace. That's what makes this betrayal burn. This wasn't a hidden skeleton. This was a thought she carried while already selling the world a love story. Harry had no idea he wasn't the lead in her movie. He was just a supporting role. Look at Harry now. Really look. The sparkle, the cheeky grin, the party prince vibe, it's gone. Instead, we see a man whose every photo screams exhaustion, whose every move feels like damage control. And you know why? Because Harry can't say a word. He's trapped. If he denies the rumors, he gives them more oxygen. If he admits them, he destroys what little image they still have left. So what does he do? He stays silent. He walks beside Meghan in public, hand in hand, but the cracks show in the photos. That haunted look in his eyes, the stiffness in his body. It's the posture of a man realizing he might have given up his entire kingdom for someone who saw him as a stepping stone. Imagine carrying that weight. You left your brother, your father, your country, all to stand by a woman who may have dreamed of replacing you with the one man you sacrificed everything to escape. That's not just heartbreak, that's humiliation. And inside Buckingham Palace, panic. Because this isn't just about Meghan wanting attention or clashing with the tabloids. This is about legacy. This is about someone allegedly scheming to rewrite the royal bloodline itself. That's why the palace can't just brush this off. It's not like the crying at the bridesmaid dress fitting drama or the feud gossip or even the Oprah bombshells. This is deeper. This strikes at the monarchy's foundation, succession. The firm knows that once the world even suspects someone tried to manipulate the bloodline, the monarchy's credibility cracks. And the monarchy only survives on one thing: belief. Belief in duty, belief in order, belief that the crown isn't something you can buy, charm, or scheme your way into. If Meghan's alleged fantasy is true, it's not just scandal. It's treason in silk gloves. And through all of this, one woman remains the calm in the storm: Kate Middleton. She has every reason to lash out, to expose, to clap back. But what does she do? She stays silent. She continues raising her children. She continues fulfilling her role as future queen. But let's be real. Behind that serene smile, can you imagine what she must feel? Knowing Meghan not only painted her as cold and cruel to millions of viewers worldwide, but also allegedly fantasized about being her, about taking her husband, her children's destiny, her crown. That's not just rivalry, that's invasion. And yet Kate plays the long game. She knows the monarchy's greatest weapon isn't words, it's patience. Time will reveal what it needs to, and history always remembers who stayed dignified. And here's where Meghan's carefully built brand begins to collapse. Think back. The polished photo shoots, the staged privacy pleas walks with baby Archie, the Netflix docuseries dripping with soft lighting and curated music. It all looks so perfect, so intentional. But once you hear the whispers that she wanted William, suddenly the image cracks. Was it love or was it branding? Was it family or was it ambition? Because everything, the Spotify deal, the interviews, the speeches, suddenly feels like a PR campaign for a woman who was never satisfied with the spare. Here's the part people don't always get. Meghan didn't just want fame. Fame fades. She wanted permanence. And what's more permanent than birthing the future king? That's not just history, that's legacy. That's a name carved into the monarchy forever. Harry couldn't give her that. His children, as precious as they are, will never sit on the throne. But William's? That's destiny. And Meghan allegedly wanted to shortcut her way into it. That's what makes this story so dark. It's not just betrayal of Harry, it's betrayal of the monarchy itself. If these whispers are true, then Meghan didn't just stumble into controversy, she was following a blueprint. Step 1. Get into the royal family. Step 2. Build sympathy as the misunderstood Duchess. Step 3. Create a legacy that ties her directly to the crown. And the scariest part? If she had pulled it off, she would have changed the royal family forever. One child, just one, and the entire line of succession would be rewritten. That's not gossip, that's a palace nightmare. So now, Harry lives in the ruins of the story he thought he was writing. He thought he was protecting his wife, building a life of love, shielding her from cruelty. But if these whispers are true, he wasn't protecting love. He was protecting ambition. He wasn't shielding his wife. He was shielding a strategist who had already decided he wasn't enough. That realization, whether spoken or not, shows in every photo. The man looks broken. And the saddest part? He can't undo it. If he leaves Meghan, the world says, "See? She played him." If he stays, the world whispers, "Poor Harry, still living in her shadow." Either way, the crown may have denied Meghan her fantasy, but it left Harry with a nightmare he can never escape. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Meghan didn't just want to be royal, she wanted to own royalty. Not through titles, not through fame, but through blood. Through the very thing the monarchy is built on, succession. That's why this story feels so haunting. It wasn't about a palace or a tiara or even the spotlight. It was about permanence. She didn't want to just marry into history. She wanted to create it. And yet, in chasing that crown she could never touch, Meghan may have destroyed the only kingdom she actually had. Her marriage, her peace, her reputation. The palace has always played the long game. Silence, dignity. Never complain, never explain. And Meghan, she was the opposite. Loud, emotional, public. At first, that strategy worked. She dominated headlines, controlled narratives, and gained sympathy. But now, with whispers of this William fantasy floating around, silence suddenly looks smarter, because every word Meghan ever said about love and truth now carries an asterisk. The royal family doesn't have to fight back, they just have to wait. History will remember Meghan not as the brave duchess who challenged the system, but as the woman who tried to rewrite the bloodline and failed. And let's not ignore the world watching this unfold. At first, people rooted for Meghan. She was the outsider breaking into an archaic institution, the Hollywood starlet who dared to marry a prince. She had it all, the fairy tale, the freedom, the fame. But now the public looks back with suspicion. The Netflix documentaries don't feel authentic anymore. The speeches about finding her truth feel rehearsed. The photo shoots feel staged. Because once you hear she allegedly dreamed of having William's baby, everything else feels like a script. A perfectly planned PR performance to distract from the real endgame. And people hate feeling duped. This scandal also reignites the Meghan versus Kate rivalry. Two women, same palace, completely different strategies. Meghan wanted change, attention, and control. Kate wanted stability, tradition, and silence. Meghan chased cameras, Kate endured them. Meghan lashed out, Kate bit her tongue. And now, years later, who's standing stronger? Kate, with her husband, her children, her country's loyalty intact. Meanwhile, Meghan? She's seen as the storm that couldn't last. The public will always compare them. And in that comparison, Meghan loses. Let's be real here. If Meghan had succeeded, it would have been the greatest power move in royal history. One pregnancy, one boy, and the monarchy itself would have bent around her. That's the level of ambition we're talking about. Not a duchess dreaming of fame. A woman allegedly dreaming of rewriting the monarchy itself. But the problem with ambition that sharp? When it fails, it cuts the one holding it. And Meghan's weapon became her wound. Through all of this, one person emerges as the tragic figure, Prince Harry. He was supposed to be the man who broke the cycle, who protected his wife, who chose love over duty. And for a while, the world applauded him for it. But now, he looks like a man who was played. A man who sacrificed everything for someone who allegedly saw him as second best. The tragedy isn't just that Meghan may have betrayed him, it's that Harry may never escape the shadow of that betrayal. If he leaves her, he's branded the fool who got conned. If he stays, he's branded the man living in denial. Either way, the fairy tale is over. So here's the haunting truth. The monarchy didn't collapse because of Meghan. The crown didn't fall, the institution didn't crumble. What collapsed was Meghan's own story. She wanted to be remembered as the woman who modernized the monarchy, who redefined what it meant to be royal. Instead, she risks being remembered as the duchess who schemed too far, who dreamed too big, who tried to rewrite the rules of blood and failed. And the cruel twist? In chasing the permanence of a crown she could never wear, Meghan lost the only thing that was ever truly hers, Harry's unconditional love. At the end of the day, Meghan's alleged fantasy wasn't just scandal, it was strategy, a dangerous, breathtaking strategy to crown herself through the future king's bloodline. But ambition that bold rarely ends in triumph. More often, it ends exactly like this, with shattered trust, broken legacies, and whispers that follow you forever. Because crowns aren't stolen, they're inherited, and no amount of planning, branding, or scheming can change destiny. Meghan wanted a king. Instead, she got a kingdom of smoke and mirrors, one that crumbled the moment the mask slipped.